Bad outputs and bad responses absolutely suck. But what's worse than that is bad prompts. And that's something that we actually have direct control over. And these frontier models have gotten so good compared to what they were like about a year ago. These open models, and they've gotten so much better that now like humans are starting to become the actual bottleneck slowly. Like AI is literally trying to spoon feed us this wealth of information. And sometimes we ask for prompts like this, and then we get mad at it for not being able to read our mind. And so, if the way we're going to be communicating with AI is through prompts, unless you have agent to agent frameworks, it would make sense for us to be really good at making prompts. Back then, I used to laugh at the fact there's prompt engineers. How could you be an engineer and prompt? But now I'm actually starting to take it a little bit more serious. And I had to take a step back because of some of the clients that I'm coaching. Sometimes we might think we're above it when that prompting is just prompting. It's nothing special. Just, hey, just ask a question, give it something to do. But now the more that I realize, it's something that will save you so much time in the back end when you front load the work and actually creating a good prompt so that you're not spending hours, time, money, effort, tokens, backtracking, trying to get a better response when you could have just given it a better response to begin with. And so I got 8 pieces, 8 parts to this 3-level framework that I have so that you can have some sort of system you can follow when you're making these prompts. Don't get me wrong, I don't expect anyone to remember all this stuff. Sometimes we just want to one-shot stuff. There's a beauty in 5-word sentence and AI just basically coming out with something spectacularly beautiful. But if you're actually trying to do this for work and your project depends on actual human capital and creating value, then it would make sense to have a prompt that is good from the beginning so that you have good results and good outputs. Because a bad prompt is basically like hiring an employee, telling them to just work and expecting them to read your mind and then firing them. Or said in another way, imagine you're a student and you're learning from this all-knowing teacher, for example, and now you're blaming the teacher for a bad response to your poorly crafted question. And so again, I say this to say that prompts are in our control. Okay, maybe models and skills and these crazy agents may not be, but at the very least, prompt, everyone has to type something in. This is the only way we communicate with AI for now until they find some way to do it with Neuralink. But until then, we will have to be prompting and communicating with AI through text and question. And so for the first piece, and we'll go with the example of trying to create a website for a gym here. I love working out in fitness. And so we'll go with trying to create a website for a gym. And so first piece is an action. We want to name the exact deliverable that we want. What do we want? And this is at most what people do anyways. But I think the key thing here is a verb. We want it to do something. And in this case, we want it to build. We want to build a responsive one-page website for a gym. Pretty specific, and say maybe we're generating an image or we're doing an analysis or we wanted to summarize something. And what keeps me in getting this part right is keeping my head like, hey, give it something to do. Probably needs a verb. All right. And then the next piece is a outcome. This is kind of more macro. Maybe take a step back and think, okay, what is it that I really want? Maybe what do I want people to feel? What is the whole goal of this? And maybe this is a website where you want people to not feel intimidated by the traditional gyms and where they can obviously book consultations. Take a step back. This adds context, and we want to look back at what the outcome is. It helps define the success. And so level 3, next piece here is context. We want to supply as much context as humanly possible. Yes, this can be extensive. This can be lengthy. This can take time. But that is the whole point of this. I'd rather spend a minute or two writing a well thought out prompt than spend 10 minutes later reverse engineering what I should have wrote to begin with. And so we're adding more context here. So the gym name is called Grounded Strength. We're local. It's in the neighborhood. We do one-on-one coaching, and we have small group training for adults in all fitness levels. So that's pretty good context. There's probably things I don't know I'll have to fix in the future, but this is highly reliant on what I do know. And I do know that this is probably enough for a website, at least in terms of detail, for the demographic of people that I'm trying to target. Cool. All right. And last piece in part 4 of level 1 is format, right? We want to be specific in how we want this deliverable given to us? Is this going to be a PDF? Is this going to be just a summary in text? Is this going to be a website? In this case, it's obvious that websites are traditionally written in HTML and CSS, and that it's something we can click on. But for example, maybe we wanted to share this website. Maybe we can even put the file path where we want it in so that we can pick it up from there and share it. So we want to be as specific as possible to how we want this given to us, like this output, right? And so if it's an image, should it be a PNG? If it's should it not even make anything? Should that image be inside an Excel sheet? Crazy stuff. Yes, I know. But being specific in the format is super important. This is probably one of the most important things that I always remember. And I'll talk about my most important one, which is in level 3. So stick around for that one. All right, now we are in level 2. This one I think can start to get vague. And by the way, when I'm talking in levels, I don't think level 2 is any better than level 1. But I do think at the very least, you should be targeting prompts in level 1 first before you even think about level 2. So level 2, first piece in that is constraints. And the point here is to add guardrails so that AI doesn't do what it shouldn't do. And so there's probably already something you know that AI would make a mistake on. So if you already know that, it's like you might as well mention it to AI and say, hey, I don't want it to look like this. In our case here, I know that I don't want to give medical device or put any kind of any crazy claims on the website just yet. I don't want it to create prices. That's maybe something that I'll figure out later on. And I don't want to generate any client transformations that may not even be real. And so it may be obvious to you to not put this down because it's something you're assuming AI might already do. But again, it's AI. It knows everything and it might put this because this is probably stuff that is high converting. So we need to be clear in our intent. And if there's something you know you don't want, you might as well just let AI know, hey, I don't want it to look like this. So these kind of things stack up and help over time. Next piece in level 2 is an example. If you have an example of what you want it to look like or take inspiration from, like this, Equinox is it's a high-end gym. I saw the website, it looks pretty sleek. I figured, hey, just take inspiration from Equinox. You can even have it take elements. Or if, for example, you want pieces of website, take your snipping tool and take out those pieces and say, hey, I want the buttons to look like this. Or maybe you have an example you want to paste, some link, some files, just more added context, right? For this, I find images tend to work the best. I like to be, especially if it's like a website, I want to be as clear as to what I want. You can visually see it and it'll try its best to be as close and replicate that as humanly possible. You can even take examples from your past work. And that's typically what I also do is if you've done the work already and you're just continuing another project with the same kind of goal, then just refer to that last file you did or that other project you did and have it take inspiration from that. And so last part of level 2 is role. Now, there was a time back in the day where this was like a hack, right? Saying, hey, it is a machine learning engineer and it needs to solve world hunger. And I think at that time it was good because we're taking the role of someone and all the LLM has to do is attach that role to what you're trying to do and what that role would do. Boom, done. But I think the issue here is that it actually adds vagueness because some people don't know what some roles are. And I think when people aren't specific as to the kind of role that they're looking for, it tends to hallucinate. So for me, I try to avoid this, but I do know job descriptions from roles change time to time. There's new roles like FDE, forward deployed engineer. What the hell is that? And then you have software developers. What kind of software developer? You have data scientists. What kind of data scientists? Is it an analyst? Is it a statistician? Is it a software developer? Is it a computer engineer? And so this can get pretty confusing pretty fast. And so I think at the very least, hey, if none of these work and all you do know is a role, then screw it. Throw that in there. But in my opinion, I try to leave this in at the end if I really want to be specific and I know the exact role that I'm talking about, then I throw that in there. As you can see here, this is super focused, like a conversion-focused web designer who understands fitness business and first-time gym anxiety. It's rare to find a web designer that is conversion-focused and who also understands the fitness business. This is a freaking unicorn. And it's also their first time and understand gym anxiety. So again, it's adding more context, which part of that we already covered in the outcome piece. Not only is it taking the role into consideration, it's taking the type of person, a person that understands first-time gym anxiety. Last but not least, the third and final part that'll complete this prompt is to clarify. This is huge. This is my favorite one. And I kept it at the end because I think this is like that cherry on top. Whenever I forget to prompt, I'll usually just type in an action and then I'll type in clarify. So I'll be like, hey, do this for me. If there's any questions you might have before building, just let me know, kind of thing. And so in this case, we add clarifying questions so that it plans first before it builds. Months before, Boris Cherny, the CEO of Anthropic, actually mentioned that 80% of his working with AI is just planning before he actually executes. Point being is that front loading the work early is far more important than just trying to reiterate and reverse engineer what you wanted from the response. And so again, obviously, sometimes you just want to one-shot stuff. This kind of like prompting would probably be more necessary for your first prompt. Not every single prompt has to be this complex, but understand that if you're, again, doing something super important and you want to get it right the first try, then likely you'll need a very well thought out prompt. And so, yeah, that is basically it. And this is it in a nutshell. You don't have to, again, you don't have to do any of this, but I hope that you learn something that you can take so that your responses are better. I've actually created a skill called Prompt Coach. The link is in the description below. It's free to download in my Skool community. Basically, all it is, every time you start a prompt, it'll ask you, hey, you left these parts out. Do you want to add these parts in as well? It's going to kind of grill you in the beginning, and you can always just set it so that it doesn't do that. It's not always bugging you, but at the very least for your first response, it'll ask you like, hey, you're missing these parts. What are these? So it'll help plan with you into building a better response or building a better prompt. And by doing that, again, you save yourself time, effort, tokens, energy, money, all that stuff. So yeah, you can download that and hopefully it helps. Thanks for listening. See ya.